Okay, I'm going to have to warn people in advance here today that this is going to be a very rambling, disjointed, and kind of angry video. I don't have a script that I'm following. I just know that I'm pissed off and I want to say something. And actually right now, this is a good time to do that because YouTube doesn't pay us anymore. This is one of the good things about being supported now by my people on Patreon. My viewers on Patreon are not being supported by YouTube ads because I can say whatever I want. I don't got to worry about pissing off YouTube. And believe me, this has happened in the past because every time I mention this topic, my video gets demonetized immediately and usually gets pulled off the air. So what are they going to do now? Charge me money to post this video? So like I say, this is one of the good things about being demonetized on YouTube. So what I wanted to talk about today is, well, I think we're all aware of the Manchester bombing that just happened. That's not exactly what I want to talk about, but that is a symptom of what I want to talk about. I think we all know the threat that we are facing from terrorism in this day and age. And I don't think I need to go on and on about that. What I want to talk about today is what I think to be the true threat, one of the greatest threats in this country. And it's people on the left and a lot of time liberals that try to pretend that guns are the problem. That if we just didn't have guns, well then terrorists wouldn't be able to kill lots of people. And we wouldn't have mass shootings, we wouldn't have mass death if we didn't have guns. That's why they target assault weapons, because they're dealers of mass death. They pretend like that couldn't happen without them. When the rest of the world is proof positive that it happens all the time without them. I mean, look at all the people that are being killed by vehicles and bombs, etc. Like poison, just anything. You can kill people any way you want to do it. Locking some doors and setting a building on fire will kill a lot of people. So to pretend that getting rid of guns will get rid of mass death, it's ridiculous. In fact, in the countries where there are no guns, they still have mass shootings with guns because no one can stop them. You get a couple of bad guys that bring guns in, who's going to stop them? Here, when we have a mass shooting, they're usually contained to one small space, like a nightclub or a school, etc. Over there, they were able to just roam the streets, go from club to club and kill multiple people, like tons of people, way more than we usually have injured over here. So making those people over there helpless by taking their guns away doesn't seem to have stopped mass killings, just made them easier to kill. But, that's also not what I want to talk about. I don't want to argue about, countries with guns and countries without guns. Mass killing exists everywhere. Terrorism exists everywhere. That's the true threat. The true threat isn't guns, it's Islam. Islam is a threat, and people on the left just don't want to accept that. They want to ignore that, and it's not just ignore it, they want to defend it. They want to defend this evil system. And I think Donald Trump said it better than any other president I've ever heard when he said that the people that do this stuff, these Islamic radicals, I don't like to say the word radical, they're not radicals, they're fundamentalists. They just believe in the tenets of their religion. He called them evil losers, and I think that's about the best way to sum them up. But like I say, they're the threat, but these people over here that want to pretend they're not, they're just as big a threat over here. Because like I say, not only do they ignore the threat, but they defend it. They demonize anyone that recognizes the threat. And it's not just people on the right. I mean, I'm not even on the right. I'm a liberal. And a lot of people be like, well, you're just pretending to be a liberal because if you say this about Islam. No, I'm not pretending to be a liberal. Why would I pretend to be a liberal on a gun channel? That helps me in no way. And my many years of being on YouTube show, I've been doing it for a long time. I didn't just conveniently become a liberal so I could say something against a liberal standpoint. I despise this whole idea that if anyone stands up and notices the problems with Islam, that they're bad, that they get demonized. And it's not just me. Some of the greatest minds on the left agree with me. Harris, Sagan, a lot of them, they're like, Islam serves no purpose other than to repress people and control the population. It is a religion of violence. It is basically a governmental system of systematic violence parading as a religion or disguised as a religion. And this whole notion that it's not really a problem, that's garbage. Or this idea that, well, Christianity is just bad. When was the last time you saw Christians doing any of this stuff? Christianity may have been as bad hundreds of years ago, but Islam is that bad now. So we deal with what is happening now. And Christianity was reformed by a lot of people who knew it couldn't continue that way. Islam is not showing any signs of reforming or any desire to reform, and why should they? They're going to be defended by people on the left no matter what they do. And the left loves to use these falsehoods like, well, most Muslims don't agree with Sharia law. That's bullcrap. The vast majority of Muslims believe in Sharia law. And Sharia law is a violent, oppressive political system. And it's their religion. That is their religion. Sharia law is the word of God to them. And the vast majority of them support Sharia law. The Pew Research Foundation, lots of organizations have done research and found huge majorities, like up to 89% of all Muslims in certain countries believe in Sharia law. So to try to say, oh, most of them don't even believe in it, that's garbage. You might say, well, I've got some friends here that are Muslim, don't believe that at all. Well, yeah, that's probably why they're here, because they tried to get away from it over there. And even though they're here now, they don't have to put up with that. They can't let go of the conditioning that they've been pounded into their head since birth about being a Muslim. So don't give me that crap. It doesn't mean anything. Over there, they're fine with it. They're fine with Sharia law. In fact, most of the people that come over here or end up as refugees, they didn't become that because they didn't agree with Sharia law. They became refugees because they were fine with Sharia law as long as they were just throwing gay people off of a building or stoning women who open their mouths in the street or killing children that dishonor the family by not following Islamic law. You know, as long as they were just doing stuff like that, they were fine with it. They only had a problem with it when one certain group said, oh, you know, this one little rule right here, you're all not following that rule, so start following it or we'll kill you too. That's when they start to have a problem with it. Or when they get caught between two factions that are fighting over that one little rule, then they have a problem with it. They had no problem with Sharia law when it was harming women and gays and children, etc. They only had a problem with it when it started affecting them personally. So I don't have a lot of sympathy for these refugees. They're just people that supported a bad system until it blew up in their face. So I don't really feel that bad for them. And like I say, I know this is going to get this video restricted and get it probably pulled off the air, but I'm okay with that. I think most people will see it in the first day before they get it yanked off. So I just wanted to make the point, like I said, I'm just angry and I wanted to talk that the real threat right now, it's not guns. It's not even bombs. And like I've said before in the past, I'd much rather face someone with a gun than a bomb any day of the week. If I'm standing behind someone on a bus and they open fire with a gun, I can probably stop that person. If he had a bomb, there ain't no chance. You can't fight back against a bomb. You can't fight back against poison. You can't fight back against those things. Someone with a gun, at least you got a chance. Even if you don't have a gun, at least you have a chance. If you have a gun, you have a much greater chance. So I don't think guns are the problem, bombs aren't the problem, cars aren't the problem, you know, those aren't the problem. The real threat are these people that want to deny the situation that we're living in, that Islam is a threat. And like I said, some of the greatest minds in the world have said Islam is a threat, and I totally agree with them. But the left continues to demonize anyone that points that out. And that bothers me, because we're not going to make any progress. We're not going to win any wars or win any hearts and minds. We're not going to make any changes to the world or to that religion as long as we keep coddling them. So it's time that people on the left wake up, because as long as you keep pretending that guns are the problem and ignoring the real problem like Islam, we're never going to make any progress.